NIT Srinagar. I really congratulate the IEEE student branch along with its counselor, Dr. Indu Prabha and Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui, as well as chair of the executive committee, Mr. Arsh, for having taken up this gala event, which is such a big event, and in the beginning itself, and of course, doing it with a commendable success. I'm sure there are lot many challenges ahead, and they will really they will rise as a winner. So I wish them all the best. Well, best. Our speaker of the day will agree, being an IEEE senior member and very well known in the IEEE India region, that is Professor Farhad Ali Bakhshi, that these forums are basically to nurture the leadership, future leadership, besides technical, technical promotion or technical activities promotion for the cause of human activities. So it is indeed the right way to proceed ahead. And of course, IEEE student branch SRM GPC under the leadership of all these office bearers along with the members are going ahead in right directions. The bigger challenge is to really spread this family to a larger, larger audience. So I'm sure they will take up this challenge also soon. And since the topic of day is also very prominent, I'm sure all the audience is looking forward for this session. So I wish them all the best and also congratulate the whole organizing committee for, successfully coming to almost end of this gala event. Thank you very much, and over to the anchor.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, I am extremely elated to welcome our honorable guest speaker, Dr. Farhad Ali Bakhsh, is a professor at National Institute of Technology, Srinagar. His research interest includes electrical machines, power electronics and drivers, renewable energy system, power system, and alternate energy vehicles. He has published multiple patents, numerous papers, and has also delivered various talks. So we would deeply indebted if you would enlighten us on the topic of today's topic, modeling and analysis of variable frequency transformer. Sir, now the platform is all yours.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I am thankful to the director, sir, Professor Bhavesh Kumar Chauhan, for giving me this opportunity to deliver a talk in this IEEE student SRM GPC student branch. Today, my topic is modeling and analysis of variable frequency transformer. So let me first share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you, sir. So today, basically, I am going to deliver about the modeling and analysis of variable frequency transformers. And before coming to the modeling and analysis of variable frequency transformer, so all of you are aware about the basic transformer. So because transformer is the basic machine, so everyone among you are aware about the transformer. So in my presentation, first I talk about the general transformer, which is the basic transformer. Then I will come from basic transformer to the variable frequency transformer. Then variable frequency transformer code components, then VFT model, VFT analysis, VFT results, conclusions, references. So first of all, I will discuss about the general transformer. So transformer is an static device which transfers electrical energy from one electrical circuit to another electrical circuit or you can say electrical power from one electrical circuit to another electrical circuit via magnetic circuit without changing frequency. So the main thing in this is there is no change in the frequency. That's why I am highlighted the without changing frequency here. Since at the primary side of the transformer and the secondary side of the transformer, frequencies are same. So you can use general transformer for synchronous power transfer, because hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, thank you. So since the frequencies at the both the ends are same, so we can use only the general transformer for synchronous power transfer. Okay, so this is the limitation of the general transformer. Another types of transformer are there, and you are well aware about it, like induction machine. Induction machine is also a transformer in which your three-phase balance supply is given to the stator winding. Due to the three-phase balance supply in the stator winding, a rotating magnetic field is developed in the air gap. When this rotating magnetic field of the air gap links with the rotor conductors of the induction machine, and according to the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF is induced in the rotor conductors or rotor bar, whatever is there. If there is squirrel cage bar, or there may be a wound rotor induction machine. Okay, if the rotor conductors are short circuited, then current will start flowing in the rotor winding. Once the current starts flowing in the rotor winding, it produces its own flux. When this flux links with the main air gap flux, torque is produced in the motor. So again, it is the same concept of transformer, that there is a one stator winding, that is also electrical part, rotor winding, that is also electrical part, and air gap is the induction machine of a squirrel cage rotor type, or you may have wound rotor type. Okay, so by this, there is another concept which is used in wound rotor induction machine. That concept is called as doubly fed induction machine. Means you can feed the induction machine from the two ends. Doubly fed means both the ends, from the stator side as well as the rotor side. Both sides you are feeding the same induction machine, and by feeding both the ends, you are able to control the speed of the induction machine by varying the frequency at the different ends. Okay, so basically doubly fed wound rotor induction machine is just like a variable frequency transformer. So by this concept, we will going to start our topic of variable frequency transformer. Since the variable frequency transformer is a new topic, but it is very interesting. It has been developed recently in 2003, and it has been developed by General Electric Company. And basically, it is a doubly fed wound rotor induction machines whose rotor is mechanically coupled to any motor. Basically, they have used DC motor in order to control the torque. So now I am coming to differentiate between general transformer and variable frequency transformer. As the name suggests, variable frequency in general transformer, as I highlighted, there is no change in the frequency. Means primary side and secondary side, both sides the frequencies are same. But in variable frequency transformer, you will get different frequencies at both the sides. Maybe primary side frequency, if you are getting 50 hertz, maybe at the secondary side you are getting the frequency of 60 hertz or some other frequency. So variable frequency transformer is a dynamic device, just like induction machine. In an induction machine, rotor is rotating, so it is a dynamic device. So it is basically a doubly fed wound rotor induction machine, as I told you earlier. Since at both the side frequencies are different, so it can be used for connecting asynchronous power system networks. Okay, so it's not necessary that VFT can transfer power in between the asynchronous power system networks. It can transfer power in between the synchronous networks also. It can transfer power in both synchronous as well as for asynchronous power networks, but uh, the General Electric company have used VFT in order to transfer power between Hydro-Quebec's Langley substation, Hydro-Quebec station in Canada and New York. Basically, it is practically installed in 2003 in Hydro-Quebec's Langley substation in Canada, and it was used to link the power between Canada grid and New York grid. May I ask some question? Hello, yes, Dr. Khadim.
I think, sir, you can either through chat box
Yeah.
or maybe directly.
Through
Through chat box, they can reply. They can reply.
Because okay, thank you. Because once I am sharing full screen, I am unable to see the chat box. I think voice message will be fine. Okay, because I wanted this lecture to be interactive rather than one-way communication. Until and unless the lecture is more interactive, the students or the participants are unable to understand it well. Okay, so my first question is that can someone tell me what is the frequency of Canada? Hello, what is the frequency, electrical frequency in Canada? Anyone? Okay, what is the frequency in US or New York?
Sir, it is 60 hertz.
Okay, and what about Canada? In Canada also frequency is 60 hertz. Can someone tell me when the both side frequency is 60 hertz, why I am talking about asynchronous power transfer? Any idea? Okay, let me answer this. Because the grid of Canada and grid of New York, both are different grids, and both are having a standard frequency of 60 hertz. But since the load in Canada is different as compared to the load in New York, so there is always due to the load there is a frequency variation. So the frequency may be in Canada at a time maybe 59.9 hertz, maybe at that time frequency in New York maybe 59.8 hertz. So there is a difference of 0.1 hertz frequency difference. So this 0.1 hertz or even 0.01 hertz, this is going to make both the grids asynchronous grids. These are not synchronous grids. Okay, because the load and both grids are different. Both grids are having different loads. So due to different loads, different frequencies are available at both the grids. So there is a frequency difference between US grid and Canada grid. So that's why we are using VFT there. And before using VFT, earlier there was installed HVDC system. So HVDC system is also used for asynchronous power transfer. So there was converting AC into DC, then they transmit DC, then after that again invert DC into AC or vice versa. Okay. No, in General Electric company have installed this VFT in Hydrocubics language substation in 2004, and what they have done, they parallelly operated the VFT as well as HVDC system and saw the performance of both the systems. Okay. So after seeing the performance, they came to the conclusion that VFT is a controllable bidirectional power transmission device. It transfers electrical power between in between the connected power system networks just by simple controlling the torque of the rotor of the VFT. Okay. So initially they have installed a 100 megawatt VFT in the Hydrocubics language substation. Right now they have installed two more units of 100 megawatt VFT, and all the 3 units are operating in parallel. So total power transfer is from 100 right now it is 300 megawatt. Okay. So before coming to the basic means modeling and analysis of the VFT, I am just coming to the concept in order to so that you can understand what is the basic concept behind the VFT. Suppose if there are 2 buses, bus number 1 and bus number 2. Bus number 1 is having voltage magnitude V and having angle delta. Its voltage angle is delta. Bus number 2 is having voltage magnitude E and it is the reference voltage, so its angle is 0. And in between bus number 1 and bus number 2, the transmission line or tie line is having reacting X. So what will be the power flow from bus number 1 to bus number 2? So power flow will be V into E by X12 sine of delta. This is the obvious equation. And no, I want to vary the power flow in between bus number 1 and bus number 2. What I have to do? So what we are doing, we are basically installing a machine in between bus number 1 and bus number 2. Okay. This doubly fed, let me say it simple in order to make it understandable. So I am installing a doubly fed induction machine in between bus number 1 and bus number 2. The stator of doubly fed induction machine is connected to bus number 2, but the rotor of doubly fed induction machine is connected to bus number 1. And there is angle theta m. I am pointing it out. This is angle theta m. This is the mechanical angle. This is the theta m is the angle between rotor and stator of the doubly fed induction machine. Initially, when the induction machine is installed, this angle theta m will be 0. Theta m angle is 0. If somehow I am able to control this angle theta m, means I am able to change the position of the rotor with respect to the stator. So I will get a angle theta m. And since theta m is the mechanical angle, so I have to convert it into electrical angle. Electrical angle will be theta e. Theta e will be p by 2 times theta m. Due to the variation in theta m, the voltage angle which is available at bus number 1 will be modified from delta to delta plus theta e. Delta plus or minus theta e, depending upon the direction of theta m. So the power flow, modified power flow equation will be P is equal to VE by X12 sine delta plus theta e. Are you getting my point? No, this theta e, by varying this theta m, you are going to vary theta e. Once theta e is going to be varied, the power flow is going to be sine of this angle is going to be varied. Once the sine of this angle is going to be varied, so the total power flow is going to be varied. I got some message in the chat box. Okay, so you got the concept or not? Anyone who is unable to understand it? Just what we are doing, we are installing a machine, doubly fed induction machine, in between the buses, and I am controlling the rotor position with respect to the stator, that is theta m, and that theta m is converted into theta e by this equation. Theta e is equal to P by 2 times theta m, and by varying theta m can be varied from 0 to 360 degree. By varying theta m, we are able to, but we don't need to vary it up to 360. We need to vary it up till, means we require theta e to be 0 to 90 degree. Okay, so we are varying, suppose theta m is, we are varying from 0 to 90 degree. So by this we are able to control theta e. Once we are able to control theta e, so sine of theta is going to be varied, and so the power flow equation is going to be varied. Okay. Now my simple question here is, if I want to reverse the direction of power flow, then what I have to do? This is the power flow from bus number 1 to bus number 2. If I want to reverse the direction of power flow, what I have to do? Any suggestion? It's simple mathematics is here. Simple concept you have to apply. I told you that the slides are okay. I told you that power flow through VFT is controllable, bidirectional power transmission takes place. Controllable, I have told you by varying theta m, you are going to vary theta e. Once theta e is varying, power flow is going to be vary. So this is controllable. What about the bidirectional? How it is becoming bidirectional? How can I make the power flow bidirectional? Any suggestion? Okay, not an issue. Let me answer this one. Actually, if you are rotating rotor in one direction, means you are applying torque by at the rotor in one direction, then theta m is, suppose, in anti-clockwise direction, then theta m is positive. If you apply the torque in reverse, means clockwise direction, means reverse direction, then theta m will be, what will be theta m?
Negative.
Theta m will be negative. Once theta m is negative, theta e will be, electrical angle is going to be negative. Once theta e, so here the equation will come delta plus bracket of minus theta e, and delta means delta minus theta e. Once theta e is more than delta, so sine of minus theta will be minus sine theta. So power will become negative. So power will become negative, means earlier when theta m was positive, power will flow from bus number 1 to bus number 2. Now power will become negative. What it means? Power will flow from bus number 2 to bus number 1. Simple concept is it. So this is the basic concept. I hope you people got the concept. This is the basic concept. By this we are going further ahead, since this is the new topic and emerging topic, and recently our one special issue also came in IET, generation, transmission, distribution, regarding this topic only. So in the basic concept regarding this is very important. Okay, so before, let me show you, this is the pictorial view of the VFT core components. VFT is having three things. One is the rotary transformer. Rotary transformer is nothing, it is just like doubly fed induction machine. And another one is the drive motor. Drive motor is a machine which is mechanically coupled to the rotor of the rotary transformer in order to rotate this angle theta m, in order to get this angle theta m. This can be achieved only by if someone apply torque by some external drive. So drive motor is driving the rotor of the rotary transformer in order to vary the theta m. And collector buses are nothing, since in a W-fed induction machine there are slip rings are there. So those slip rings, in order to avoid those slip rings, they developed a collector bus. Basically, you can analyze VFT by a W-fed induction machine whose rotor is mechanically coupled to the DC motor, DC machine, which I am going to explain here also, if you will see here. So what I have done, this is W-fed induction machine. Its rotor is mechanically coupled to DC drive motor, and this model, both combined model, I am saying VFT. You can realize practically like this, but in actual VFT, it is different. They have assembled all these things in a single assembly as shown in this figure. Okay, so collector system is just for taking or supplying the current at the rotary side of the rotary transformer. Okay. So in order to model VFT in your in any simulation software or in your lab, so you can analyze the VFT by using a W-fed wound rotor induction machine whose rotor is mechanically coupled to DC drive motor or some any other motor which can drive the rotor of the W-fed wound rotor induction machine. Now, what I have done, I have connected grid 1 to the stator of the W-fed wound rotor induction machine, and rotor windings of the W-fed induction machine is connected to the grid 2. Grid 1 is having voltage magnitude Vs and angle theta s. Grid 2 is having a voltage magnitude VR and angle theta r. And see the power flow equations. If grid 1 is supplying power to the VFT, then power is taken as positive. If VFT is supplying power to the grid 1, then power is taken as negative. If grid here again, if grid 2 is supplying power to the VFT, then power is taken as positive. If grid 2 is taking power from VFT, then power is taken as minus PR. And the DDM will always supply power to the rotor of the VFT. So PD will be always positive. So in simple way, we can say that when grid 1 and grid 2 is supplying power to the VFT, then power is positive. Then when VFT is supplying power to either of the grid, then the power is negative. So basically these things are same what I told you earlier. So basic concept is that whenever, if basically here, if no torque is applied at the rotor of the VFT, so no power flow will take place from grid 1 to grid 2 or grid 2 to grid 1. Just what will happen, VFT will take power from grid 1 as well as from grid 2 in order to energize itself. Suppose if I apply a torque in clockwise, anti-clockwise direction, if I apply a torque in anti-clockwise direction, then power flow will take place from grid 1 to grid 2. And if as I increase the magnitude of torque applied at the rotor of the W-fed induction machine, the magnitude of power flow is going to be increased from grid 1 to grid 2. Similarly, if I want to reverse the direction of power flow, so I have to apply the torque at the rotor of the VFT in clockwise direction, then power flow direction is going to be reversed. Earlier it was from grid 1 to grid 2. Now it will become grid 2 to grid 1. And as I apply the increase the magnitude of torque in reverse direction, magnitude of power flow from grid 2 to grid 1 is going to be increased. So this thing, I will show you the modeling. and then we will do the analysis, and we will show the results will show that this thing is going to happen. Okay, so power flow from grid 1 to grid 2 is nothing. Power flow through VFT, it is P max into sin theta net. P max is nothing, Vs into Vr upon SSR, where theta net is theta s minus theta r plus theta rs. Theta rs is nothing, it is this that angle rotor position with respect to the stator, that this is the electrical angle. This is the electrical angle of the between the rotor and stator of the W-fed induction machine. If you put this equation, you will get power flow through VFT, this equation. So this is the phasor diagram of VFT. Initially, I have taken one case, minus PR is equal to PS plus PD. It means that, what do you mean by minus PR? Minus PR is this one. The power which is fed to grid 2 will be sum of power which is supplied from grid 1 and power which is supplied from DC drive. DDM is nothing, DC drive motor. Power which is supplied from DC drive motor. It is obvious. Ideally, minus PR will be equal to PS plus PD, or if when the power flow is taking place from grid 1 to grid 2, then minus PR will be equal to PS plus PD. When the power flow is taking place from grid 2 to grid 1, then minus PS will be equal to PR plus PD. Okay. So by taking this equation, and we behaved VFT like a transformer, ampere turns at both the sides are equal, NS into IS equal to NR into minus IR, and evaluating all these things, we came to the conclusion PD is equal to minus PR into 1 minus FS by FR. Since the grid FS is grid frequency of grid 1 and FR is the frequency of grid 2. Since both grid 1 and grid 2, if the grid 1 and grid 2 frequencies are constant, so this term is going to be constant. So minus PR is directly proportional to PD, or PD is directly proportional to minus PR. What it means? It means that the power which is fed to grid 2 is directly proportional to power which is supplied by DC drive motor. Okay. If you do further analysis, you will find that if you find out the torque is nothing, PD by omega Rm. And if you see the final equation, torque is equal to NP by 2 into minus PR by 2 pi. Since NP is number of poles, this is constant. 2 and 2 pi are constant. So minus TD is directly proportional to minus PR. What it means? It means that power which is supplied to grid 2 is directly proportional to the torque supplied by DC drive motor, or directly proportional to the power which is supplied by DC drive motor. This is the case when power flow is taking place from grid 1 to grid 2. Now, when the power flow direction is going to be reversed from grid 2 to grid 1, so the case should be such like that, minus PS should be directly proportional to PD, or minus PS should be directly proportional to minus TD, because torque is direction is going to be reversed. So if you do the further analysis, when power flow is taking place from grid 2 to grid 1, so minus PS, no, power which is fed to grid 1 will be sum of power which is supplied by grid 2 power, PR, and PD. PD is nothing, power supplied by DC drive motor. If you do further analysis like previous case, then you will get PD is equal to minus PS into minus FR upon FS. There was FS by FR and here was minus PR. So FR and FS is constant. So this term is going to be constant. So PD is directly proportional to minus PS. Means the power which is fed to grid 1 is directly proportional to the power supplied by DC drive motor. Similarly, if you do analysis for the torque equation, you will get here torque will be equal to NP by 2 into minus PS by 2 pi. So earlier case, it was NP by 2 into minus PR by 2 pi, and negative sign was not there. There was positive sign. Here it is a negative sign. Negative sign shows that the power flow direction is going to be reversed. When you apply negative torque, then only the power flow direction is going to be reversed, and then power flow will take place from grid 2 to grid 1. Now the NP is constant, NP by 2 and 2 pi, these are constant. So the power which is fed to grid 1 is again directly proportional to the torque supplied by DC drive motor in the reverse direction. Okay. So by this, in order to analyze these things which I have explained here, the modeling of the modeling part, so I have done certain analysis of same thing in MATLAB. Then I have done some experimental evaluations. So first I have developed the model of the BFT in MATLAB. Anyone among you in for your bachelor's project or master's project can develop this model in the MATLAB. It's not a tough model, it's a simple model. Okay, so what I have done, I have taken three-phase source 1 as grid 1 and three-phase source 2 as grid 2. Okay, and I have taken asynchronous machine SI units as in W-fed wound rotor induction machine, whose stator winding is connected to grid 1 through VI measurement block, three-phase VI measurement block, just to measure the active power at this end, at the stator side of the BFT. And the rotor of the W-fed induction machine is connected to the three-phase source 2, means grid 2, again through the three-phase voltage measurement block 2, in order to measure the power available at the rotor side of the BFT. Okay, and DDM and its controller is developed here. All other blocks are just for measurement purpose. Okay, so this is the subsystem of DDM and its control system. So first I am converting AC into DC by AC to DC converter. Then I am using 4-quadrant single phase rectifier DC drive in order to closed loop control this DDM speed, in order to maintain a constant DC speed. And this is the mechanical coupling between the wound rotor induction, W-fed wound rotor induction machines and DC drive motor. Okay. This is a further subsystem of AC to DC converter. So first I am converting AC into DC, then I have using DC to DC converter in order to maintain a constant or required voltage at the terminal of the DC mode. Okay. Now what I am doing, I have kept here grid 1. Grid 1 is at 400 volts. 400 volts RMS voltage is 400 volts, and frequency was 60 hertz. Grid 2 is at 300 volt or line to line, basically line to line. RMS voltage is 300 volt and frequency was 50 hertz. So grid 1 is having frequency of 60 hertz, grid 2 is having frequency of 50 hertz. So if you will see, you see this is the upper one is the voltage waveform of grid 1 and lower one is the voltage waveform of grid 2. If you see the voltage waveform of grid 2, it is going to complete one cycle within 0.02 seconds, means 20 milliseconds. So in 20 milliseconds, this frequency becomes 1 by T. 1 by T is 50 hertz. 1.0.02, it is 50. So grid 2 is having frequency of 60 hertz. If you see, grid 1 cycle is going to be complete before 0.2 seconds, means its frequency is more than, time period is less and frequency is more than this one, means grid 2 frequency. So its frequency is 60 hertz. And if this is the per phase voltage waveform, so you won't get, this is per phase. I have written here per phase voltage waveform of stator and rotor side. So it's not up to, not three phase. It is 400 volt line to line RMS. It is 300 volt line to line RMS. Okay. So now I am showing you when no torque, means TD is equal to 0 Newton meter. It means the torque applied by DC drive motor is 0, means no torque is applied at the rotor of the VFT. If you will see here, initially there are certain disturbances in the grid 1 current, grid 1 power, grid 2 current, and grid 2 power. But if you see in after a certain time, 0.5 or 0.6 second, you are able to see that steady state waveforms are coming. Current becomes stable, like power became stable, like grid 2 current became stable, and grid 2 power become stable. But the main thing is that when no torque is applied, when TD was 0 Newton meter, so grid 1 power is almost 0. This is 0 axis, and grid 2 power is also near to 0, means no power flow is taking place from both ends. Both are supplying power to the VFT in order to energize VFT, as I told you earlier. Now, if I increase the magnitude of torque TD from 0 Newton meter to 10 Newton meter, then you will see the grid 1 power becomes positive. It is something around 2 kilowatt, and grid 2 power becomes negative. This is the 0 axis. Grid 2 power become negative. What it means, grid 1 is supplying power to the grid 2 through the VFT. Also, the current waveforms are stable. Okay, I hope you got my point. When the positive torque is applied, grid 1 starts supplying power. It is 0 axis, and grid 1 power is something positive here, something around 2000 kilowatt. I have given the table, exact values are there. And grid, it is the 0 axis of the grid 2 power, and its power is negative. And grid 2 power is negative. It is less than 2000 kilowatt, 2000 watt. It means that grid 1 is supplying power to the grid 2. Now, as I further increase the magnitude of torque from 10 Newton meter to 20 Newton meter, so what should happen? It should happen that the grid 1 power should become more positive, and grid 2 power should become more negative, means more amount of power will flow from grid 1 to grid 2. Let us see, is this happening? So no, I increase the torque magnitude from 10 Newton meter to 20 Newton meter. You will see grid 1 power becomes more positive. Earlier it was something 2000 watt. Now it is something around 4000 watt. And grid 2 power was earlier less than minus 2000 watt. Now it is more than, it is something around minus 3000 watt. So more, grid 1 power become more positive and grid 2 power become more negative. It means that grid 1 is supplying more power to the grid 2. Okay. So this is the tabular means results which shows how power flow is varying. When torque TD was 0 Newton meters, so PS was positive and PR was positive. What it means, both were supplying power to the VFT in order to energize itself, means both power is positive, means there is no power flow was taking place in between the grids. Okay. When the torque is increased from 0 Newton meter to 5 Newton meter, then PS becomes more positive, but PR becomes negative. It means it shows that the PS was supplying power to the PR. As I denoted earlier also, minus PR means VFT is supplying power to the grid, or plus PS means grid is supplying power to the VFT. Now further, as I increase the magnitude of torque from 5 Newton meter to 10 Newton meter, PS becomes more positive and PR become more negative, means as I am increasing similarly from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, now you will see PS is also increasing and PR is also increasing. It means that as I am increasing the magnitude of torque, so magnitude of power flow from grid 1 to grid 2 is also increasing, as we have derived in the modern part. So same thing is proof, means my earlier I told minus PR is directly proportional to TD. So as I am increasing the TD, so minus PR is also going to be increased. Okay. So now what I have done, now I reverse the direction of torque. Earlier direction of torque was 5, 10, 15, 20. Now it will be -5, -10, -15, -20 in order to reduce the slide. I have shown only the result for +10. For 0 Newton meter, +10, +20, which I have shown earlier. Now I will show two more results of -10 and -20 Newton meter. Now, when I reverse the direction of torque, now the torque TD becomes -10 Newton meter. So what should happen? Anyone? Now I reverse the direction torque. What should happen? Power flow direction, once I am reversing the direction torque, so power flow direction should also reverse. It means that no power flow should take place from grid 2 to grid 1. You see, earlier grid 1 power was positive above 0. It is the 0 axis. Earlier, both cases, the grid 1 power was positive, but in this case, grid 1 power is negative. Earlier, grid 2 power was negative, but in this case, grid 2 power is positive. What it means, earlier grid 1 was supplying power to grid 2, but as I reverse the direction torque, now grid 2 is supplying power to the grid 1. Okay. Now, what I am doing, I am increasing the magnitude of torque from -10 Newton meter to -20 Newton meter. If you see, as I increase the magnitude of torque from -10 Newton meter to -20 Newton meter, grid 2 power becomes more positive and grid 1 power became more negative, means more amount of power starts flowing from grid 2 to grid 1. Okay. And if you see the results of -5, -10, -15 and -20 Newton meter torques. So earlier PS was positive. No PS is negative. Earlier PR was negative. No PR is positive. What it means, as I reverse the direction of torque, the magnitude of power flow is also reversed. Oh, sorry, the direction of power flow is also reversed. And as I am increasing the magnitude of torque, the magnitude of the power flow is also increasing. Okay. So this is the graphical view which shows when 0 Newton meter, both power was positive, so no power flow was taking place. As I applied torque in positive direction, so grid 1 power becomes more positive, but grid 2 power becomes more negative, means more power starts flowing from grid 1 to grid 2. As I apply the negative torque, so grid 2 power becomes more positive and grid 1 power becomes more negative. So by applying negative torque, the power flow from grid 2 to grid 1 starts increasing. Okay. So this graph clearly shows that the power flow through the VFT is controllable. It is controllable, bidirectional, and the power flow through VFT is directly proportional to the torque applied by the DC drive motor. If you can put here also power supplied by DC drive motor. Both case, in that case also you will get a linear graph. So it is linear directly proportional. So it is a linear graph as we have derived in our modeling part. Okay. So in order to do the experimental analysis, I have developed a setup of VFT in IIT Roorkee, because I have done my doctorate from IIT Roorkee. So I developed this setup. This is the WFET wound rotor induction machine, WRIM wound rotor induction machine. It is mechanically coupled to the DC drive motor. This is DC motor 1, and its controller is, this one is the controller of the DC motor. By this knob, which if you are able to see it clearly, by this knob I am controlling the magnitude of the voltage applied at the armature of the DC motor, by which I am able to control the torque applied by the DC drive motor at the rotor of the wound rotor induction machine. Then wound rotor induction machine is connected to grid 1 through auto transformer 1. Just auto transformer is just used for linking the voltage of grid and stated voltage of wound rotor induction machine. The rotor winding of the wound rotor induction machine is connected to the auto transformer 2. Then output of the auto transformer 2 is connected to the grid 2, this side. Okay, so if you see the practical results, you will see when no torque is applied, both side power was almost positive. It's very little power flow is there. When negative torque, okay, let me tell you one thing. Actually, in order to make since grid 1 and grid 2, here both grids are synchronous grid, but I am showing here the analysis for asynchronous power transfer. In order to make the this grid 2 asynchronous, we haven't used the grid 2, we have used a synchronous generator. This one is the synchronous generator. Its output is coming to the auto transformer 2, and synchronous generator is driven by another DC drive motor here. That's why I have mentioned here DC motor 1, and that was DC motor 2, and it was having separate controller in order to maintain the constant speed of the synchronous generator, in order to maintain a constant voltage at the output of the synchronous generator and the frequency at the output of the synchronous generator. So since the synchronous generator is used, so synchronous generator cannot take power inside it, so it can only supply power to the grid. Okay, so one side power flow is shown here. So that's why if you see here, so PS is negative and PR is positive. At the rotor side, synchronous generator is connected and PS is negative. So PR means synchronous generator is supplying power to the grid. And if you will see here, these are the experimental results. These are also linear. Just both side is not taken because we don't have a proper grid. Synchronous generator cannot work as a load in order to take the power. Hello. Okay, so the one side power flow is shown. Suppose if you say this side power flow, when the negative torque was applied, then power flow was taking place from grid synchronous generator to the grid. Only this side power flow is shown here. So now I come to the conclusion part. Since I have been given 1 hour, so I should restrict to my time. So I am coming to the conclusion part. So first thing is that when no torque is applied at the rotor of the VFT, no power flow was taking place in between the grids. When torque is applied at the rotor of the VFT in one direction, then power flow was taking place from grid 1 to grid 2. As the direction of torque is reversed, so direction of power flow also reverse. From this, I am able to say the power flow through VFT is controllable and bidirectional. Since the magnitude of power flow through VFT was directly proportional to the torque applied at the rotor of the VFT, so it's showing the linear relationship, and it was clear from the waveform. It does not produce harmonics in the output center. So if you remember the waveform, all the current voltage waveform was purely sinusoidal. I have calculated the harmonics that was coming out to be 0.01%, which is nothing. Okay, and by experimental results, we have validated the simulation results. So these are the references which I have followed. And so thank you. Any queries?
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open for question and answer. Please write your questions on the chat box if you have any queries. efficiency of VFT?
It's very good question. Let me say that the efficiency which is claimed by General Electric Company is 99.9%. General Electric Company has, since it is a transformer, so the efficiency they have claimed is 99.9%. But if you analyze VFT, as I was telling you, you can analyze, because we don't have VFT. VFT is a basically a separate device in which all these, if you see this waveform, drive motor, collector bus, and rotary transformer, these all are in same shaft. Okay, same shaft is there, single shaft is there, and on the same shaft all these things are there, and also they have managed the air gap and all those things, so their efficiency is very high. But if you use wound rotor induction machine mechanically coupled with the DC drive motor, then efficiency will be coming out to be less than it.
So there is one more question.
Yes.
Why do we connect two power grids?
Why do we connect two power grids? Yeah, it's very simple. We cannot connect two power systems. Okay, let me say, if two power systems are having means same frequency, you can connect it through a tie line. Okay, in a tie line, the power flow will take place depending upon the difference of the voltage. Wherever voltage is more, the power flow will take place from higher voltage to the lower voltage side. Okay, but if you want to connect the two power systems, asynchronous power, for synchronous you can use tie line or simply rotary transformer. But if you want to connect two asynchronous power systems, you cannot connect it by simple tie line. Okay, if you connect two different frequencies power system by simple tie line, then you are basically there will be large current of flow of current will be there, and your tie line is going to be damaged, and it is obviously going to affect the power system at both times. Okay, so we require any system which can connect two asynchronous systems. Okay, so question was that why do we need to connect two power systems? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So question was that why do we need to connect two power systems? Actually, in order to for economical reasons, if we like in India there are 5 major regions, northern, southern, and all these 5 major regions are there, and these all regions are connected, means आपस में connected, and these all are connected, interconnected with each other. This is done because if suppose your generation at some end is more, and suppose at that side the utilization is not that much, then what you are going to do? The extra power is what you are going to do. If generation is more, if suppose if there is a one home and you are using a generator and generation is more and load is less, what you are going to do? Extra power is going to be wasted. First thing is that you cannot save the electric AC power. For storing the AC power, since our generation is in AC, transmission in AC, distribution in AC, for storing the AC power, you want super capacitors or means super inductors, and which is very costly. You think you cannot save AC power. If generation is more and demand is less, then that extra power is going to be wasted. If the transmission network is interconnected, then that extra power can be utilized in some other network. I hope this they want to know. This is for economical reason as well as for stability reason. This why we connect all the power systems. We have regional grid, we have national grid, we have like this international grids are also there.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
So you have told the efficiency is nearly 99.97%.
99.9%.
Yes, sir. Sir, but if we can go on to the table which is represented by you.
I told you, I have given that answer. I
Yes, sir.
haven't used actual VFT.
Okay, sir.
I have not used actual VFT because we don't have fund to bring VFT from Canada. And actually, I want for test setup, so I can analyze the same thing by using wound rotor induction machine mechanically coupled to the DC drive motor. I haven't used actual VFTs. You are seeing here, I told this so many times in my presentation.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. Any other question?
So I hope nobody having any question. So thank you so much, sir, for this informative session. Now I would like to invite our branch counselor, Dr. Indu Prabha Singh ma'am, to deliver a vote of thanks on behalf of IEEE SRM GPC student branch.
Okay, Anish, thank you. Good evening to all, and good evening to Farhad Ali sir. Now, Honorable Director, Dr. Bhavesh Kumar Chauhan, Chief Advisor and Advisor IEEE SRM GPC branch, and HOD Electrical and EN, Dr. Khadim Muin Siddiqui. Today's speaker, Dr. Farhad Ali Baksh, Assistant Professor, NIT Srinagar, faculty members, and our most valued students and other participants. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the technical talk titled Modeling and Analysis of Variable Frequency Transformer. I, Dr. Indu Prabha Singh, on behalf of Shri Ram Swaroop Memorial Group of Professional Colleges, Lucknow, and the entire IEEE SRMCM student branch, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty thanks to Dr. Farhad Ali Baksh for taking out his time from his busy schedule and make us aware of types of transformers, concept of power flow, and the working of variable frequency transformer and simulation of VFT. Please, sir, accept our sincere appreciation for the outstanding presentation you made for us.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, an event like this, that is organizing a series of webinars, cannot happen overnight. It requires a lot of time and planning. So we have been fortunate enough to be backed by our management, our ED sir, Engineer Pankaj Agrawal, additional ED ma'am, Engineer Pooja Agrawal, Director sir, Dr. Bhavesh Kumar Chauhan, Advisor IEEE SRM GPC branch, Dr. Khadim Muin Siddiqui, and a team of very motivated and dedicated student members of IEEE SRM GPC student branch. Sir, we have been fortunate enough to be guided by our director, sir, who is our source of inspiration and always motivates us to conduct such type of programs. And because of his guidance, we were able to celebrate IEEE Day by organizing 6 days event in continuation. I also extend my thanks to all students and faculty members for their presence and careful listening, because without them, this webinar does not have any meaning. So now I am thankful to all the students and the sir And so we are thankful for being with us in this evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now over to
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Now, I would like to take permission of our respected branch counselor, Indu Prabha ma'am, to end this event.
okay. Now we can end the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
So
you.
now
Thank you all.
the event has officially ended.
Okay. Thank you. Now we can leave.